There's like gonna be some intro music before we start, I think.
We can just like record and like talk about intro music.
Yeah. What do you want? I'm thinking like some sort of jazzy tune with like little technical beats to like encapsulate like, you know, technology, but then like entrepreneurship, which is like that creativity part.
Yeah.
And then I don't know how to encapsulate the gospel, like a guitar strumming maybe.
Actually, that's interesting. I think I'd have to try several variations because like when somebody helped me with the Ceaseless app preview video, he chose like kind of like a electric guitar kind of riff, and I heard it. It's like it's not quite what I want.
Yeah.
So he showed me where he gets his audio from. There's a YouTube audio library and for free music, and so I found one that was kind of more of a gentle acoustic guitar kind of sound, and but still had energy to it. And I felt like it was more fitting because it wasn't too in your face, but it still had some energy to it. What I really would have loved is probably some sort of epic soundtrack, because that's kind of the music that I tend to like. But it fit well because it kind of gave the feel a little bit of, you know, an Apple ad or whatever, without too much drama, but just kind of communicating the message across. And so it took I had to listen to maybe 10 different sounds before I finally settled on the one that I liked. So
How dramatic are you thinking about? Because I'm thinking about like Inception dramatic.
Oh, you're thinking about Inception dramatic?
Were you thinking about that? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
It's just funny. It's like, whoa, welcome to the fields.
Oh, that's an interesting point.
I don't know.
Okay, just one moment. Are we recording this yet?
Are we? I
don't know. I feel like we could just record this because this is already interesting.
We've been recording for like the last 5 minutes, bro.
Okay. Okay, this is good because then it gives us material to work with. So there's this really great app called Adobe Voice, which is completely free for iPad. And it lets you make really simple but beautiful explainer videos. And so let me connect real quick, because there might be we don't have to use this music, but we might get some ideas.
Cool.
From this kind of the different styles that they have.
Awesome. So while Chris is getting that app up, I just want to say welcome all of you listeners to our first TheoTech podcast. We actually don't even have a name for this right now. We're thinking TheoTech Talks or TheoTech Podcast. We're really not sure of a name, so if you have a name, just comment. Let us know what you want us to call this talk. And my name is Alan.
My name's Chris.
And we're gonna attempt to get this podcast going. So, Chris, you got that app up?
I have the app up. Let me just play it back. Let's see what it's doing.
Cool.
Are you bored?
There you go. Let me go to the beginning.
Are you bored? Do you wish that you could use your gifts for something that actually matters?
It was really hard for me. I was bored every single day. There was no reason for me to get up in the morning. And when I joined TheoTech, everything changed.
What is TheoTech?
TheoTech is a community of people who are all excited about using their gifts to advance the gospel. It's exciting because we're using our technical, entrepreneurial, and creative skills in order to explicitly begin with God and work backwards to make the things that He wants to see happen in the world.
So who can join TheoTech?
Anyone can join. We believe that God has gifted every person, and that given the right opportunities, amazing things can happen.
So that was a prototype video I did a long time ago with my sister Natasha, who, by the way, is joining TheoTech shortly, and it was just to get some ideas across. It was completely ad hoc, but that was a nice, gentle kind of soundtrack. Now here's some other potential sounds, because that's really what we're here about, right?
Okay.
Let's just see. Nah, too boring. Too boring. No, too much. Let's see. Definitely not.
Oh, it's like spooky music.
This is a horror movie.
I'm pretty sure we can probably find something to go in the intro later. It's gonna be like really short, like 3-second kind of like intro, TheoTech.
Dramatic.
Oh,
I like dramatic stuff like this. There comes a time in every human being's life when they need to decide what really matters. How will they use their gifts? What is it for? How will they use their wealth, their intelligence, their beauty, whatever it may be that God's given them? Here at TheoTech, we believe that is the essential thing that you can do to find happiness in life. Together, we can change the world while doing what we love, according to God's vision for humanity. Sign up for TheoTech today. There you go, see?
Whoa, bravo!
Maybe we could do something like that.
Dude, like I was sold on that. Like I actually legitimately thought like I could picture you like in green screen, like in the background, and you have like these little raindrops or like whatever.
Yeah.
You're like outside under an umbrella, like sign up for TheoTech today.
That would be pretty awesome. I would love to do that.
Dude, that was like epic. Yeah.
So maybe
Yeah.
some idea like that.
I'm gonna have to like make some variation on that.
Well, we could take it. Yeah, we could do a lot.
But hey, so we've mentioned TheoTech a bunch of times, and I think for people who don't really know what that is, I think it's about time that we give an explanation. So before we do that, I think it'd be really cool to just kind of give a little backstory, kind of like where we come from, and just kind of what led us up to TheoTech. That's probably a huge question. So maybe like a little background story from Chris.
Sure. I've told this story so many times I don't even know where to begin. I feel like that, but I would say that I graduated from the University of Washington with a degree in computer science as well as a master's, and during that time, that was back in 2009, 2010. Facebook had just become kind of a big thing, and the whole tech industry has been always really highly admired, I think, or lauded by our generation and our world today, and so. Definitely one of the dreams that I think many people had back then, including myself, was to be able to start a company and to do something that would be so amazing that it would impact millions of lives and billions of people with technology. Now, the other kind of component of that was that I was a Christian, and so it was really important to me not just to kind of satisfy my own ambition, but to be able to use the gifts that God had given me, the things I really love to do in technology that I'd loved since my childhood, towards the things that God really cared about. And so all of this wasn't very clear back then, but I had the opportunity to do some research in machine translation, which is using computers to translate human languages. And the reason why I even entered that field was not because I really cared about language, actually. It was because there was a summer as a sophomore where I should have been looking for internships, and I was lazy, and so I missed a lot of deadlines. And what happened was that at my church, my church basically invited some Bible translation missionaries to share about their work. And about 2 weeks later, an email came out to an email list from a professor in the electrical engineering department looking for an undergraduate to do research in machine translation. And so basically, I put two and two together, and I was like, well, maybe God would like me to do this. Maybe this is a way that I can use machine translation to help accelerate Bible translation, which is something that I thought fit with his purpose. So I applied for that job, and thankfully, the professor, she interviewed me, and then I explained to her why I cared about doing this, and she hired me. And so that's how I got my feet wet in undergraduate research and in using computers to translate human languages. And after I finished my undergraduate, my computer science professor sponsor was willing to take me on as a master's student to continue related work. And that related work was trying to invent a new approach that could support automatic translation of all of the world's 6,000 languages. So for those of you who don't know, a lot of the state-of-the-art, like statistical machine translation, required a ton of pre-translated bytext, which means that you had it in like English and then Chinese, and all the sentences were aligned, and that way you can do some statistical processing on that. But obviously, maybe only the top 50 languages in the world really have that much data, and so those approaches don't work as well when you're dealing with minority languages. So in any case, that was my master's degree research, and during that time, my professor, he knew that I would like to start a company to do this, and I took some entrepreneurship classes and things like that. But as my degree came to a close, basically, he told me, Chris, this is going to require a lot of money to commercialize. You should also be looking for a job. And so as I finished my master's, I was pretty devastated.
So just to interject, you wanted to start TheoTech right out of the gate.
I did, but I didn't have that name back then. I had a product that I pitched at a business plan competition called MeSpeak, which is trying to be a mobile app to do translation.
Okay, and that's similar to what you're trying to do today. Is that correct? Or
it's related, but not similar.
Related, not similar. Okay,
yep.
Cool.
Thanks for clarifying that question.
Yeah, no problem.
So to make a maybe longer story short, I ended up accepting a job offer from Amazon, and my ambition kind of changed. It was kind of, God, I just want to serve you faithfully wherever you send me. So for as long as you want me at Amazon, let me serve you faithfully there. I'm not going to try to have my feet in two boats and try to, I'll just do this work and then do this thing on the side. And so my first year at Amazon was kind of lonely, to be honest. But I had to grow so much as an engineer. So I'm actually very grateful that I did not start a company out of the gate, because I learned so much from working with these other professionals and working on Amazon's scale as well as Amazon's leadership principles. And then by the second year, God had provided other Christian brothers and sisters in the company that I got to know. And so we would gather just over lunch and things like that. And I started a group there called TheoTech, which stood for the Theology of Technology. And so the reason why we were studying the theology of technology, to me, it was so important, was because this is something that people wouldn't do in their churches. You know, my goal wasn't to try to take them out of church to do some other thing, but to do the things that we uniquely could do as Amazonians. And since we're not just the consumers of technology, but the creators of technology, you know, what better way for us to study the scriptures than to compare it with, you know, the work that we're actually doing? So we read a book called From the Garden to the City, and we just kind of went through the discussion questions and would regularly meet. After that, we switched to some theology of work topics, like how a man handles conflict at work. And eventually we did a series called Succeeding at Amazon as a Christian. And the approach to this series was that we would take the leadership principles of Amazon that everyone is measured on for their performance review, and we would compare those with the scriptures in order to see, hey, if I try to conform to Amazon's mold of leadership, what does that mean for me as a Christian? And if I'm trying to conform to Jesus Christ, his image and his likeness, what does that mean for me as an Amazonian? So just putting the two together, right? Because a performance management system, by nature, because of the incentives of giving you higher pay and rewards and things like that, will help you to conform to it. So we did that series, and it was really well received, actually, not only by the believers who gathered in Seattle, but I got emails afterwards from people in like Japan and South Africa who were so grateful that we were doing this. They wish that they could be there with us, and we wish that they could be there with us too. But to summarize again, Amazon's most important or first leadership principle is called customer obsession, which means that leaders are customer obsessed. They begin with the customer and they work backwards. And that's really different than how a lot of people approach life or work or things like that, where they begin with themselves and think about, what do we do? What do we have? What can we do? And what can we do with that? This is completely flipping it around. And that's exactly what Amazon's mission is to be Earth's most customer-centric company. You start with your customer, you work backwards. You pay attention to competition, but you obsess over customers.
And it's actually working out for them, I guess.
Well, right now, it seems like the world is kind of going along like, hey, this is a good idea. It seems to be succeeding. And so, in any case, what happened in that Bible study that I brought up was like, guys, what would it look like if God was the customer? What would it look like to have Earth's most God-centered company in that same way? Okay. You know, what would it be like if we took it seriously and empathized with what he values, and we tried to deliver the products, services, and experiences that would delight him? And so that became this hypothesis, this what if, in my mind that lingered. And eventually, that's what I believe God called me to actually pursue. And that's what has become TheoTech, the company today. I have more backstory there, but I don't know if that's really what you want me to go into.
Okay, cool. So I guess kind of to recap, like that mentality, I guess, do you want to call it the TheoTech mentality?
Yeah, you could call it the
Sure.
TheoTech mindset.
The TheoTech mindset is God obsession, basically, right? Instead of customer obsession. So you're thinking of God kind of as like the customer, and you're trying to figure out what he wants and work backwards from there.
Yep, that's right.
Okay, cool. So that's kind of Chris's backstory up to where kind of TheoTech was birthed, I guess, right? Mm-hmm. Do you want to continue from there? So
sure, I can go a little bit into more detail.
Okay, cool.
So let me explain more of the principle that I've coined, which is
actually, yeah. Why don't we stay on that topic since we already talked about kind of the TheoTech mentality.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah,
so I want to talk about technology entrepreneurship for the gospel. Like, I think that most people today would agree that technology entrepreneurship is a huge source of innovation and wealth creation in our world today, and it's one of those kinds of bright spots. And I just think that that's one of the most powerful mechanisms that can be used to advance the gospel to the ends of the earth. And so TheoTech, in a broader sense, the summary is, can we be Earth's most God-centered company by beginning with him as our customer and working backwards to invent the things that he wants to see in the world? But to broaden it out a little bit, you could use the word technology entrepreneurship for the gospel. Now, technology means that we're inventing, we're discovering, we're creating. We're not content with the status quo. We're always looking for ways to do things better, faster, and in a sense, always reforming to fit with what God values and what he wants to see. And so that's what the technology value really means. And this can apply to any discipline. It's not just high technology. It's not just software. It's not just hardware or whatever, but even processes, right? Even the ways that you're organized, even the ways that you're thinking, those things can all have room for creativity and invention. And the second one is entrepreneurship. And for me, what entrepreneurship is at its essence is taking responsibility. It means that you're not going to just kind of leave the ideas, the great ideas that you come up with, and just like, oh yeah, we're a think tank. We're just here to talk about ideas and stuff. No, we want to take responsibility to take those ideas all the way to the market, so they end up delivering real value for people, and so they end up delivering real results for our customer, God. We're not here just to talk. We're here to take responsibility and take it all the way, and we'll do whatever it takes to do that. That's what the value of entrepreneurship means. And for the gospel means that our aim in everything that we do is to get the gospel to the ends of the earth. And then when I say that, I don't just mean the gospel message, which many people may have heard. Jesus Christ died for your sins, and if you believe in him, you'll be saved and inherit eternal life, as a brief summary. But I mean also the gospel experience. And that's huge, because everyone has their vision of utopia. Everyone has their vision of, oh, if only the world was like this, it would be so much better, or something like that. And for TheoTech, we believe that God's vision is the one that we want to promote. Not our own individual visions, but really to say this is his dream for the world. This is the kingdom of God. This is what it's like when God's in charge. This is how good it is when everything flourishes under his leadership. And so getting the gospel to everyone on earth means both that we proclaim that message, but we also deliver foretastes of that kingdom, so that people get a quote unquote customer experience that helps them to say, oh, this is what it's like when God's in charge. This is what his vision for our lives are, and I want in on that. And so that's what together, technology, entrepreneurship for the gospel, those values kind of shape everything that we do and the way that we do things and our mission in pursuing that dream of, say, getting the gospel to the ends of the earth and delivering the results that God, our customer, wants to see.
I see. So technology, entrepreneurship for the gospel. And I guess those things in the end, they do coincide, right? I mean, I guess, you need entrepreneurship in technology, but you also need technology in the gospel, and you also need gospel in entrepreneurship, and those things kind of like feed off each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So awesome. Well, thanks for explaining that. I mean, you've explained that to me like many times, but it's always really exciting to hear you kind of explain that again.
I love doing it because for me, I really believe that's what God called me to do. Yeah. However TheoTech turns out, whatever his will is for it, I am delighted if I see more and more people thinking this way. Just if they begin with God as their customer and take it seriously and say, what is it that I could be doing that would deliver what he wants and delight him? That's already huge. Just the mindset. It can spread like a virus, even if it's outside of the company. So I love sharing it.
I guess your forte is more in the technology and entrepreneurship, and you're trying to figure out how can you use those two kind of tools that you have to, satisfy God as your customer. Because, for me, like, for example, like I'm more of a creative music kind of artsy guy. And that's also what I'm thinking about too. Like, how do I use my creativity in music? So I guess yes, we're accenting technology and entrepreneurship, I think, because it kind of embodies you as a person. But that's not only limited to just technology and entrepreneurship. It can extend to like arts and sciences.
Oh, absolutely. And you're absolutely right. Because this is my area of familiarity. This is where I am best able to think through what it looks like to serve God as my customer in this place. But for artists, for scientists, for people in academics and many other fields, that's their expertise. That's where they get to think through how can they use their gifts in this God-centered and God-oriented way. And for TheoTech as an organization, kind of the recruiting tagline might be "Do what you love for a cause that matters." And what that would mean is that for the people who are part of TheoTech, whether as employees or just as volunteers and people who are connected to the community, we really want to see you unleashed. We want to see you activated. We want to see you discovering what it is that God gifted you in that you already love to do, and creating the opportunities for you to do more of that in a way that lines up with the gospel and with the kingdom. And so that can fit with so many people.
Cool. Well, hey, thank you very much, Chris. We are just about out of time, and your phone is going off. Sorry, your phone is going off.
Next
back
time,
there.
I'll have to silence it. Now I know.
Again, this is our first time doing it, so we are discovering things as we record. But yeah, once again, thank you very much for tuning in to. We don't know what this is called, but we're going to call it TheoTech Podcast for now. Yeah, tune in again next week. Hopefully, we'll have some more content for you. And any last words, Chris?
No, just thanks for doing this, Alan, and also for the people who are listening. Please give us your feedback. I'd love to learn and connect. And any way that we can serve you, let us know.
www.theotech.org, right?
That's right.
Okay, cool.
Awesome.
Search us there. All right, see you guys.
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.